A single moment can shatter everything we thought we knew. In Outlander Season 8, there comes a scene so powerful, so heartbreaking, that even the strongest fans found themselves holding their breath, eyes filled with tears. It's not just another twist. It's a reminder that love, loss, and fate are the unshakable forces that define Claire and Jamie's story. This is not just a sad moment. It is the story of Outlander has always been one of love-defying time. A tale where two souls, Claire and Jamie, are pulled across centuries yet somehow remain bound together. As we enter Season 8, their journey has already carried them through war, betrayal, impossible choices, and the constant shadow of history's cruelty. Season 7 left us with threads of hope woven tightly against threads of despair. The American Revolution was tearing families apart. Danger was closer than ever. And still, Claire and Jamie stood together, refusing to let the world break them. But even love as strong as theirs cannot shield them from every heartbreak. In these opening episodes of Season 8, the tone feels different. There is a heaviness in the air, a quiet sense that something is coming, a storm of emotions that no one can truly prepare for. Claire, who has always been the healer, the one who tries to mend what is broken, begins to sense the fragility of everything around her. Jamie, who has fought countless battles and carried unthinkable burdens, begins to show the cracks of weariness. They are both aware that time has given them great love, but also stolen so much. This moment, the one we are building toward, is not just about loss, it's about the cruel beauty of fate. Viewers are reminded that Outlander has never promised a happy ending, only a true one. Every victory has been paid for with sacrifice, and every joy has been touched by sorrow. What makes this scene so devastating is not simply what happens, but the way it forces both characters and fans to confront the truth. Love may be eternal, but the people we love are not. As the screen begins to darken, as voices lower and the pacing slows, we are pulled into the heart of the story. The heartbreak is waiting, and its impact will echo far beyond just one episode. It is the kind of moment that lingers, the kind you cannot forget, the kind you feel deep in your chest long after the credits roll. Most heartbreaking scene yet. There is a silence that speaks louder than any battle cry. In Season 8, the quiet moments before the storm are where the heartbreak begins to take root. Outlander does not rush into its tragedy. It lets us feel the weight of anticipation, the creeping dread that something precious is about to slip away. The build-up to this scene is masterful because it doesn't rely on shocking twists. It relies on the inevitability of fate, and the way love often prepares us for loss without us realizing it. Jamie and Claire's lives have always been painted against the backdrop of history. Wars are not just fought with swords and muskets, but with the choices that tear people from the ones they love. As the revolution grows more violent, every glance, every touch between them feels more fragile. The camera lingers on the smallest details, Claire's hand brushing Jamie's, his steady gaze lingering on her face as though memorizing every line. These are not casual moments. They are unspoken goodbyes hiding in plain sight. The strength that has carried them for so long begins to show cracks. Claire tries to keep her focus on healing, tending to the wounded, but we see her falter. Her hands tremble for just a second too long. Jamie, the warrior who has stood unshaken through blood and loss, now hesitates before speaking, his words carrying a weight that tells us he knows what lies ahead. It is not shouted, it is whispered, and that whisper becomes unbearable once we realize what it means. What makes this build-up unique is how deeply human it feels. Outlander reminds us that tragedy does not arrive in thunder and lightning alone. It often comes with the softest of sounds, a sigh, a glance, the quiver in someone's voice. It comes in the way a couple clings to ordinary moments, knowing that soon, those ordinary moments will be extraordinary because they will never happen again. By the time the heartbreak finally strikes, we as viewers have already been living in its shadow. We are prepared, yet not prepared at all, and that is what makes this moment unforgettable. It is not only the scene itself that breaks us, but the long, tender walk into it. It doesn't arrive with shouting. It doesn't arrive with war drums. The most heartbreaking scene of Outlander Season 8 begins with something much quieter, an almost unbearable stillness. The world slows, the noise fades, and suddenly, it is just them. Claire and Jamie standing in the fragile space between love and loss. Jamie speaks first, his voice steady but carrying a softness that feels final. It is the kind of tone people use when they know time has run out. His words are not grand speeches but fragments of truth, simple and sharp, as though he is chiseling them into memory itself. Claire listens, her eyes wide, fighting the flood of tears. She is a healer, a fighter, someone who has bent time itself to stay with him. But in this moment, even she cannot mend what is breaking. The scene is devastating not because of what is shown, but because of what it makes us feel. The camera lingers on their faces, holding longer than usual, making us live in the silence. The trembling breaths, the way their hands refuse to let go. It is a scene without spectacle. No sweeping music, no sudden shock. Only the raw human truth that even the greatest love stories carry pain. And then, it happens. The line is crossed. A decision, an act, a loss so permanent it steals the breath from the room. Claire's cry cuts through the silence, not loud but sharp enough to pierce the heart of every viewer. Jamie's face, set with both strength and sorrow, reflects the truth we have always feared, that even legends can break. This moment is unforgettable because it feels honest. It doesn't trick us. It doesn't manipulate us. It simply shows us that love, no matter how eternal, cannot escape the weight of time. Fans knew something was coming, but when it arrived, it shattered every defense. It is a scene that will live in Outlander history not because of its scale, but because of its intimacy. A love that has crossed centuries now meets its most devastating test. And for the first time, it feels like time itself has won. When the moment passes, the silence remains. It is the kind of silence that does not feel empty but heavy, filled with everything that has been lost. Outlander has always shown us that time leaves scars, but in this aftermath, the scar feels deeper, more permanent, almost unbearable. Claire is left standing in the shadow of what has just happened, her face carrying not only grief but the quiet realization that life must continue, even when the heart feels shattered. The world does not pause for her pain. Outside, battles rage, history moves forward, and yet here, in this small corner of their story, time feels frozen. Every step Claire takes after this moment feels different. Her hands, once steady and healing, now tremble with memory. Jamie, too, is changed. The man who once carried the weight of entire wars on his shoulders now carries a different burden. The knowledge that love, no matter how fierce, cannot protect against fate's cruel hand. What makes this aftermath so unique is how it ripples. It isn't just Claire and Jamie who are marked by this heartbreak. Their family, their allies, even the cause they fight for is touched by it. The choices they make moving forward are no longer driven only by hope or survival, but by the deep ache of loss. Every glance between them is layered with unspoken words. Every decision feels heavier. It is as though the entire season bends beneath the weight of this single moment. For the audience, the heartbreak lingers because it feels real. We have walked with these characters through joy and despair, but this feels final in a way nothing else has. It is a reminder that Outlander has never been just about romance or adventure. It has always been about the cost of love, the sacrifices we make, and the truth that even the strongest bonds are tested by time. And so, when the credits roll, we are left not just with sadness, but with reflection. We think of our own goodbyes, our own losses, the way ordinary moments become extraordinary when they are gone. This is why fans call it the most heartbreaking scene yet. It does not just belong to Claire and Jamie. It belongs to all of us. When the episode aired, the reaction was immediate. Around the world, living rooms fell silent, social feeds lit up, and fans found themselves typing words they could barely bring themselves to say. I can't stop crying. They broke me. This is the hardest scene in the entire series. Outlander had once again done what few shows can. It made people feel something so raw, so human, that the story bled into real life. Some fans turned to each other online, creating threads filled with grief and comfort, almost like a vigil for the moment they had just witnessed. Others compared it to the heartbreaks of past seasons, saying nothing had hit this deeply before. Even those who had read the books, who thought they were prepared, admitted they weren't. "I knew it was coming," one wrote, "but nothing could have prepared me for this." The resonance of the scene spread far beyond the fandom itself. Critics highlighted it as one of the most emotionally charged moments in television that year, praising the way it avoided cheap shock and instead leaned into authenticity. Commentators noted how the scene captured universal truths about love and loss, that it wasn't just a fictional heartbreak, it was something audiences could see in their own reflections. What made the reactions unique was the way fans carried the moment with them. Some said they replayed the scene, not to torture themselves, but because it felt like honoring the characters they had spent years loving. Others created fan art, edits, and even letters addressed to Claire and Jamie, trying to give voice to emotions that felt too big to keep inside. In every corner of the Outlander community, the heartbreak became a shared language, a reminder that great storytelling does more than entertain. It binds people together. The scene did not end when the credits rolled. It lived on in the hearts of fans, in their late-night conversations, in the trembling posts they wrote hours after watching. This is the kind of resonance that makes television history, not because it shocked us, but because it touched something we all carry: the fear of losing what we love most. Outlander Season 8 gave us its most heartbreaking scene yet, and its echo is still being felt. Heartbreak changes a story. Once it happens, nothing ever feels the same again. Outlander Season 8 has given us a moment so devastating that it reshaped the way we look at Claire and Jamie, not just as characters, but as symbols of love's endurance. And yet, if Outlander has taught us anything, it is this: the story is never done with us when we think it is. This scene may feel like the peak of sorrow, but history tells us otherwise. The road ahead is long, filled with battles that will test not only their strength, but the fragile threads that keep them bound together. Love has carried them across centuries, across oceans, across death itself. But even love cannot outrun destiny forever. What happened here was not the end. It was the reminder that endings are closer than we want to admit. The brilliance of this moment is how it sets the stage for everything that follows. Now every embrace feels more urgent. Every whispered word feels like it could be the last. Every step toward the future feels like walking on a thin line between hope and tragedy. Outlander is not simply telling us a story. It is reminding us of life's most painful truth, that even the strongest hearts break, and even the deepest bonds are tested. So where does this leave us? With questions that sting. What more must Claire and Jamie endure before their journey is done? What sacrifices are still waiting in the shadows? If this was the most heartbreaking scene yet, does that mean something even greater, something even more devastating, still lies ahead? As the season moves forward, one thing is certain: Outlander will not let us go. It will hold us in suspense, pull us through joy and despair, and remind us again and again why we cannot look away. The heartbreak we've just witnessed is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of its final, unforgettable chapter. Stories like Outlander don't fade when the episode ends. They stay with us, weaving into our own memories, reminding us of the fragility of love, the certainty of loss, and the beauty of every moment we take for granted. Season 8's most heartbreaking scene has proven once again why this series is more than a historical romance, more than a time travel adventure. It is a story about the human heart, in all its strength and all its weakness. What makes this moment unforgettable is not only the sorrow it delivers, but the truth it reveals. We love these characters because they are flawed, because they hurt, because they keep fighting even when fate seems determined to break them. Watching Claire and Jamie endure heartbreak is painful, but it also mirrors our own lives. We know what it means to say goodbye, to hold on to memories, to fight against time even when we know it is slipping through our fingers. That is why this scene resonates. It does not just tell their story, it whispers something about ours. And as we look ahead, we are left standing in that fragile space between fear and hope. Will the next chapter bring healing, or will it demand even greater sacrifices? Outlander has never promised us comfort, only honesty. It has shown us that every triumph is shadowed by loss, and every heartbreak carries the seed of resilience. That is why fans cannot look away, even when it hurts. Because within the heartbreak, there is still love, and within love, there is still life. So when you think back on this scene, remember it is not the end of a story. It is a reminder of what makes this story worth following until the very last page. Outlander Season 8 has given us its most heartbreaking scene yet, and perhaps its most beautiful one too.